the Memphis Grizzlies and the Los Angeles Lakers. We'll start with you first, Tyrik. Who do you have winning the series between the Grizzlies and the Lakers?
I was hoping you didn't go to me first, man. Another series I'm very up in the air about. I'm going to go with my gut, though, and I'm going to say Memphis in 7. And I don't love it, but I'm going to go with Memphis in 7, man. The defense has just been different. Gabe likes to mention how they went from like a very bad defense to like top 5 in the league with Jaren Jackson. The key is him staying out of foul trouble and him being able to defend Anthony Davis. This team is just gaining so much more experience, even though they're a young core. I kind of trust them in this matchup, even though the Lakers have been playing really good basketball over like the last month and a half. I got a little more confidence in them. And the way that they've been playing, I feel like it's gone so under the radar the way that they've been playing over like the last 20 or so games. Jaren offensively has been so good. And John Morant getting into his groove, like I think has just kind of gone unnoticed since all of the situational stuff went down with him. And such a deep team too. The Lakers definitely have built on their depth, but I think Memphis is a little deeper. The key matchup is definitely Anthony Davis against Jaren Jackson. But I feel like Jaren Jackson has definitely kind of learned from just the way like he played in the postseason last year, getting in foul trouble in that first round series was really a big talking point. I think he'll learn from it and he'll provide a very valuable matchup for Anthony Davis. And even with Anthony Davis, I'm still like, it still seems like sometimes he kind of holds back a little bit and doesn't play like to his fullest potential. And they'll need that like for a full series for the Lakers to win this, I think. So I'm gonna go with Memphis in 7, not confidently, but that's what my gut is telling me.
Interesting. I disagree here, but I have it going the same amount of games. I have Lakers in 7, and I really think what swung it for me was just the depletion of Memphis's front court. I think the fact that you're missing Brandon Clark and Steven Adams, it's like, oh, you're down 2. I mean, Jaren's great, but like, if Jaren's boxing out one of Vanderbilt or Anthony Davis, that other guy is right there to get the rebound. I mean, Anthony Davis, I think, just kind of clinched leading the league in rebounds himself. We know what Jared Vanderbilt does. He'll be down there in the painted area. Like, they're going to crash the boards hard. And then you have LeBron, who's always on, like, triple-double watch, basically, his entire career. He's going to be down there. Like, I just feel like they'll get a lot of second chance points. I don't feel like they'll allow Memphis to have a lot of that. And then once they do that, like they can just kick it out. You're telling me I have LeBron can drive and kick to actual shooters. We haven't seen that in a while. AD, if he can make some plays out of the post, same thing. Like this team is just built really well, I think, just to work as a unit. I think you have LeBron as a top playmaker that can run the show and just have all these pieces in the right places, get things going where they need to go. There's a lot to like. I do have it going 7 because obviously John Morant is going to be very formidable. He steps up his game in the playoffs. Desmond Bane's had a great season as their number 2 scoring guy. And then Jaren's just been great on not only defense, but he's had some great offensive performances himself as of late. It's just the fact that I don't think Jaren can do it all by himself. We saw this with Utah for years where it wasn't really a lot of other pieces around Rudy Gobert, and while he might have been a good defender by himself in that system, if the other guys are allowing some blow-bys, might not be so smooth. Now, obviously, Memphis's defensive core is better than what Utah's was then, but I still don't think it's great, and especially from the front court perspective, they might be toast.
Yeah, I think – so even though I, in the last series, picked the Kings to win, I think the Grizzlies, what they see on the other side there, they see Golden State, a potential rematch in the second round. So I feel like that they're going to want to get back. They're going to want to like prove themselves to that degree. And I feel like that's why I have them winning this in 6. It might be weird having them winning in 6 because that means game 6 would be in LA and it almost seems like there's no chance they would win there. But I just have – this is like one of those superstition things that I feel like they're just going to win game 6. Might seem crazy, but I don't know. I just think like the new – yes, I was saying earlier that I think the Lakers would probably want to play Memphis more because if they get Jaren Jackson Jr. in foul trouble, then it's going to be very hard to contain AD. But I feel like sometimes like we don't always see AD go like 100%. Like sometimes he plays smaller than he is. He's like maybe 6'11", I believe. Some days he'll play like 7'2". Some days he'll play smaller than Kenneth Lofton, who's like 6'6" or something like that, height wise, maybe not like stature wise. But I don't know. I think like I just don't know if I feel like there's going to be. I feel like game one is almost like a given that the Grizzlies are going to win this. And I know, like, you know, there could also be pressure just because, like, the Lakers, they have LeBron, they have AD, you know, experienced guys, both top 75 all time. So, like, there could also be that pressure as well. But, I mean, like, it's been, like, a trend over the last several series, over the past several years, that LeBron-led teams just don't win game ones. So, I feel like they're already at a disadvantage there. And I think with Adams and Clark out, it allows maybe Memphis to play more like inside out action than maybe if they had Clark in, and more everything would be attacking downhill, you know, because, you know, that Tyus Jones, Brandon Clark pick and roll, it's almost like bread and butter. But if AD's back there, you know, protecting the paint, and then you also got Jarrett Vanderbilt and stuff like that, like it's going to be tougher to execute on that. So I think you'll see a lot more. I feel like you'll see a lot more. I don't know like what the stats are, but like the average pick and pop plays for the Grizzlies in this series will have to be higher than it is per game, like in the regular season. Like that's going to be key for them to succeed. And I feel like they'll have to hit their shots too. But I don't know. It's just going to be tough because I feel like they have a little bit, like Gabe was saying about the Pelicans, like they have a little bit of that Pelicans in them where it's like, some games, like, you don't need Ja to be, you know, the superstar Ja Morant. Last year in the playoffs, Desmond Bane was their leading scorer, right, in the first round. So it could be Bane. You know, it could even be Dylan Brooks. I mean, people forget 2 years ago, this guy averaged 26 points a game against the Utah Jazz in the playoffs, right? So it could be him. You know, it could be Tyus Jones. He's had big games this year. Jaren Jackson, I think he just dropped like a 30-piece the other night as well. And he's an all-star. So, like, they have a lot of guys. They got Luke Kennard on the bench, right? So they're a very unique team. I feel like maybe they have more threats that can go off than the Lakers. Of course, Austin Reeves' ascension has been nice lately for them, and then also D'Lo as well. I don't know how much I trust D'Lo in the playoffs because I have yet to see anything to make me trust him in the playoffs, but I would probably go with the Grizzlies in 6. And again, the 6th pick is superstition. Like, I feel like it could be 5, it could be 7. I feel confident the Grizzlies will win this series. I would probably feel maybe, I mean, it would make more sense to pick them in 5 or 7, but I don't know. I just feel like they're going to win it in 6, so I'm going to go with that.
I'm going to make it an even split here on the team and the games that's being in 1 in, because I'm going with the Lakers in 6. If this was a Memphis team that had Brandon Clark healthy, I have them comfortably winning this. And even if he's still out and Steven Adams is still healthy, I'm probably still picking them to win this, although it's a little bit less comfortable. But with both of these guys out, I just feel like they're going to get eaten alive inside, and I really struggle to see how they're going to handle it on the boards, how they're going to handle it on the defensive end. Jaren's role is going to have to be a lot different than it normally would be otherwise in this series, with Steven Adams getting to be more in the paint and Jaren getting to roam a bit more, getting to block more shots, getting to affect more on the perimeter. He might not get that luxury as much now because Xavier Tillman might struggle a little bit more on the interior. Kenneth Lofton, if he gets any minutes, is definitely going to struggle on the interior just because of the pure height differential. So Jaren's role is going to be very different. And the fact that the Lakers have so much size, whether it be Vanderbilt, whether it be AD, whether it be LeBron, just having one guy with true size and length and physicality that is truly going to be needed to deal with those guys in this series is going to be a bit of a problem. And like you guys alluded to earlier, the Grizzlies are going to have really good perimeter play and are going to have to hit their shots to be very productive in this series. And they've been better as a three-point shooting team over this past couple of months, but they're still not an elite three-point shooting team by any stretch. And to be a good three-point shooting team, they have to play Luke Kennard a lot of minutes, and that has its own problems on the other end of the floor. So there's just a few too many questions for me as to how Memphis are going to deal with having Steven Adams and Brandon Clark out. It's a tough matchup for them for the injuries they're dealing with, and it's unfortunate timing for them to have both these guys out. And to anyone that has seen my Brandon Clark propaganda over the years. I'm a big Brandon Clark guy, and as soon as he went out, my thoughts on how well they were going to do in the postseason went down dramatically. He was very key for them in the postseason last year. He would have been very key for them in the postseason this year. And due to the matchup and how much size they're going to have to deal with in LA, I'm going to pick the Lakers in 6.